Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals, and right now I'm doing a bunch of Masters of the Universe Origins catch-up reviews. I got these about a month ago, but because I was doing a bunch of Ninja Turtle, Ghostbusters, and I just wrapped up doing a bunch of Thundercats Ultimates reviews, I just couldn't get to these. They were sitting in a stack next to me, just staring at me, calling out, "Gary, open me, open us!" But I just couldn't get to them because I was too busy. And then 2 days ago, I got Wave 4 in the mail. And I reviewed that, and I got Ram Man, so I reviewed that, and I figured now is the best time. I got to go back, and I got to review Wave 3. It's time. Let's do this. So, this is a pretty decent wave. I like a lot of these characters. I've never been, like, the biggest Zodac fan. Like when you looked at the old toys, like, you had so many cool things going on. To me, he always seemed a little boring, but I understand that a lot of people like him, so I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, I'm just going to say that he's not my favorite, but I love Merman. I think Roboto's awesome. And also growing up, I never really knew about, I don't even remember She-Ra at all. It's funny because, I don't remember that cartoon on at all. My wife is like, yeah, that was, one of my favorite cartoons of all time was She-Ra. So, I don't know. Apparently, I missed out on it. I was too busy watching He-Man, Ghostbusters, and Ninja Turtles or something. I don't know. But yeah, so this wave is really cool. They all come on the standard Masters of the Universe Origins card with the exploding red rocks, which is awesome. They all come with a comic book inside. They have a cool bubble to hold them in place. And on the back, they all have very nice pictures. Well, very nice artwork. I'm really happy that Mattel is trying to go for a retro look with these. Really try to get to your nostalgia from the old when you were a kid and you were buying all these awesome Masters of the Universe toys back in the 80s. And I like that all of them have very cool artwork on the back. Look at this shot of Merman under the water with all of the octopus and these other fish and jellyfish and all that stuff. Not only that, but up here, look at that. It looks like Battle Armor Skeletor fighting Battle Armor He-Man. But that's not all. He's riding Spydor, and Spydor is one of my favorite vehicles of all time. I actually had that when I was a kid, and I remember I had the box in my room for the longest time. I don't know what ever happened to it. I wish I still had that box, because it was just awesome. The artwork on it. And then down here, he doesn't really have much of an action feature here. You just fit the sword of Rakash in his hand. Up next, you have Zodac. And, this looks really awesome, too. You have Zodac kind of hiding behind here because, from what I always understood, he's not supposed to interfere between good and evil. He's just supposed to watch it, like the Watcher from Marvel Comics. And back here, you have the throne from the Castle Grayskull from back in the day. Yeah, and he's just watching He-Man and Skeletor fight. That's pretty awesome. And I can't remember, was that called the Talon Fighter? Is that what that is? I always forget. But that thing's really awesome, too. Hopefully we get a new one of those, too. And next up, we have She-Ra. And to be honest with you, I like She-Ra looks awesome here. I don't know. When you look at the actual toy, it's nowhere near as cool. I don't know. But yeah, so you have this awesome picture of She-Ra fighting Hordak and Mosquitor in the background. And, they haven't released any pictures of him yet, but I've already had the deluxe figure pre-ordered at Big Bad Toy Store. I got all these toys from Big Bad Toy Store, and it was pretty great because they didn't punch the cards. Because, look at that. You want that picture nice and complete. And over here you can see that, you can put on She-Ra's cape, and you can turn the crown around to become a helmet. She's She-Ra. And you can... twist her into powerful battle positions, just like the other figures. And finally, we have Roboto. And, just seeing him, he's blasting Triclops' sword out of his hands, and you have Cobra Khan hiding back there. I love that. I love all the artwork on these cards, because I love how the artist always throws all these random different characters that we haven't seen in the toy line yet, but they're coming. I don't know. I just love all these little Easter eggs and hints and all that kind of stuff. And down here you can see that you twist Roboto's waist and his gears turn and his jaw moves automatically. Very cool. And he has 3 interchangeable weapons. These 3 guys and 1 gal all come with this very cool mini comic, Dimensional Doom. And, these are all pretty neat because I haven't read them, but somehow they worked in every single character from this wave into the comic. And look at that. That looks just awesome. You'll never get like these giant monster creatures and all that kind of stuff, but man, it would be awesome if you could eventually get something like that. But like I said, that's pretty much impossible. And here they are, fresh out of their boxes and ready for battle. Merman was always a favorite of mine. I always thought he was pretty cool, so I think he's really awesome here. Roboto looks cool. She-Ra looks cool. Now, I'm going to compare all of these guys to the original figures from the 80s Masters of the Universe line. But unfortunately, I don't have any of the Princess of Power toys, And I do have the Super 7 Filmation She-Ra, so I will compare her to that because, she's pretty different from that. So let's begin here. All right, so for articulation, these guys pretty much all share the same exact body type, so they all have the same thing going on, where you have a ball-jointed neck, so the head can turn all over the place. You got rotation and a hinge in the shoulder. You have rotation and a hinge in the elbow. You only have single elbow joints here. Ooh, this one's a little tight. You gotta be careful with that. You don't want to break it. The problem with these is that, the pins can be very small. So you want to make sure you don't accidentally break it. Please. Yeah, I'm having a real hard time here turning his that elbow joint. The wrist here has rotation and it has a hinge. There is a swivel in the, you can you twist his waist around. You have ball jointed hips, so you can move them all over the place. However, as I've learned with, what was that cracking sound? That didn't sound good. As I've learned after getting the land shark, you can't really bend the legs up enough to really get them to sit down on their butts. So that is a problem, sort of. The knees also have a, boy, his joints are just way stiffer than the other guys for some reason. I don't know if his plastic is made out of a different type of plastic than the other ones. But, all right, you have a swivel and you have a hinge there. Let's see. There we go. Be very careful. You have a boot cut here, so you can swivel it around there. And down here at the foot, you have a hinge and you have ankle rockers. When it comes to articulation, the ladies have the same points of articulation that the dudes have. They just have the ball jointed neck. They have the rotation and hinge in the shoulder, rotation and hinge in the elbow. Same thing with the wrist. You have a twist in the waist here. You have a ball jointed hips. You have the same knees where you have a rotation and you have a hinge. You also have a boot cut here, but you might miss it if you're not looking but this boot is a separate piece from this leg joint. And same thing with the feet. You just have the hinge and you have the ankle rockers. So here's Merman next to the Merman from 1982. In the original line, Merman was released in Wave 1, so he was released right off the bat. And for some reason, they waited till Wave 3. That's okay, because I think that Mattel is doing a very cool job of distributing these guys. Like, you're getting a lot of the classic figures mixed in with some of the later, more obscure characters. Like in Wave 4, you have Stratos from Wave 1, mixed with Ninjor from, Wave 7 or something like that from the original line. So, they're doing a good job of mixing this here to try to, keep you going and not just kind of slowly roll it out in the same order that it originally came. All right, so here's a close-up of these two guys. And right off the bat, you'll notice that the new Merman is brighter than the original one. His green is a little brighter. The orange is brighter. Even his armor is brighter in color. This is more like a classic mustard, where this is more of a Grey Poupon mustard. I think the faces are pretty similar, but also a little different. Like this one, he just kind of has like a buggy-eyed kind of look, like he's shocked almost. Where this one, I feel like, I don't know if the way that the eyebrow is kind of makes a little bit of a slant on the eyes. It actually makes him look a little angrier or more evil. So, that I think that's beneficial. I think that's cool. The basic shape of the armor is almost exactly the same. Well, actually, it's a little different. I don't know. You obviously can see that they were trying to copy this, but there are some things like, these spikes are kind of, I don't know. It's like playing a trick with my eyes here. They're similar, but they're not similar. This is an extra piece added down at the bottom. This one is just one piece all put together. In the back, the new one is just a little thinner, and then the new one has a little bit of a bigger strap going around them. But other than that, like, even the like the shape of this kind of looks like hair, but it's not. These lines on the back of his head look like they almost match perfectly with the original one. That's pretty crazy. The muscles in the back all look the same. Some of the muscles in the arms, they're a lot more defined in the newer one, so I'll give them that. That they, look at that. What happened to my Merman? Who was chewing on him? Yeah, so the newer one has more defined muscles, but it still matches the muscles of the original one. It's not like they kind of gave new muscle groups or anything like that. Even in the chest here, the pecs and the way these rib muscles down here, they all match pretty well. So they did a pretty decent job. Here's the difference. The belt. The belt on the new one is actually yellow, and the original one is just the same orange as the loincloth. So there you go. That's different. I like this Merman face, but it's not always been my favorite Merman face. I always like the face that, you have in this awesome book, where he's got like the little antennas coming off of his head. To me, this looks more like a fish face, and I don't know what I would describe this as. I mean, I guess it's kind of fishy. It kind of has I don't know. I guess it's kind of like a piranha look or something like that. But I don't know. I like this face too. And from what I understand, they are having a variant. I can't remember what it's. Maybe Legends of Power or Legions of Power, something like that. There's a Merman variant coming out in Wave 5 or 6, and I think it might look like this, but I'm not sure. While I do love He-Man, I'm not like, I don't know all the lore and all the other kind of stuff and all the differences. I just love the old toys and some of the books and stuff like that. So, if I don't have all the information, I apologize. But here's the brand new sword compared to the old sword. Just like the armor, it's a very different color. This new one is very yellow. The old one is more of a spicy mustard kind of color. But I this is funny because everybody always refers to this as like the corn sword, the ear of corn sword, something like that. Yeah, I could see that. I think it's supposed to be like fish teeth or something, or shark teeth, something like that. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if somebody, I think that you have like this, like the sword would actually stop at the teeth. So it'd be interesting if you actually trimmed off this extra plastic here and just made the sword the same shape as the teeth and the piece in the middle. I'd be interested in seeing that. So here's the brand new Zodac compared with the original Zodac from 1982. Zodac was also released in Wave 1 in the original line. And, like some of it is just that, like, I said before that Zodac is not one of my favorite characters. Mostly it's just because most of the times when you would go over people's houses and they'd have Zodac, he would never have the armor. So it'd just be kind of like a regular guy, half-naked regular guy with a helmet on. And, people would have like Clawful or Whiplash or like Web Store or something like that. So for me, I would always want to pick like the cool, like, monstrous looking guys and stuff like that. Things that were kind of extraordinary. And Zodac to me just kind of seemed like a regular dude. All right, so let's get deep into the details here and figure out what's all brand new with this Zodac. What's different? First of all, you'll notice that the brand new Zodac hardly has a neck. Like, what's up with that? How come all the other figures have a neck and his just looks like his helmet rests right on there? You got no neck there. So that's a little different from the original one because you can clearly see that he's got a neck here. The red is sort of similar, but the brand new one is just a little darker. Yeah, this one is more like, it's a brighter red, and yeah. But I will say that the plastic is a little nicer on this one because it actually makes all these details on here sharper. The original one, the details are a little soft. The gray is actually pretty similar, But the skin color is different. Like he has more of a tan complexion here, and in the original one, he has more of like a reddish hue or like a pinkish kind of skin color. Now I have seen that some people have been posting that some of their Zodacs have not had like a hairy chest. This Zodac that I have, he definitely has the hairy chests. So I don't know what's up with that. The I kind of like. I like the way that the older helmet looks. I think more than this newer one. I think that some of the details on it are more what's the word? More like dynamic. Like this one is a little too even Steven, and it kind of might be a little boring. Where this one, you have like different things going on, and I don't know. There's also some like the way that this is all built up. These lines etched into the side of it are a little different than this newer one. He's got a pretty hairy back too. It's time to manscape, Zodac. Like I said, I don't know. I just, even though Zodac is never one of my favorite characters, I think that the older head looks cooler. I kind of like how he has the bigger eyes on this older one. I don't know. These eyes appear a little too small. Even this logo on his chest here, that's a little too like thin too. Like the original one, I think because it's bigger, it looks like it fills that chest plate a little more than this one. And then other than that, like there's not really much, he's got I don't know what the type of feet you call these, either like the beast feet or something like that. They're like the Skeletor feet. But I don't know. It's okay. Alright, so here's the brand new gun next to the old one, and unfortunately my old gun is like kind of bent or warped. That's a bummer. But I do like the shape of the old one a little more. I like that the fins on the side of it are a little bigger. I don't know, the new one's good too. I don't know. It's alright. I actually kind of like the old plastic that they used on the original gun. It's almost like a transparent red, and I like it. It reminds me of the transparent red on Spy Door. There's just something about that Spy Door with that see-through red that's just really awesome looking, and I feel like this gun kind of captures that a little bit. Okay, so up next we have She-Ra, and like I said, this one's a little different because I don't have an original Princess of Power She-Ra from the 80s, so I will compare her to the Filmation one that Super 7 put out. First of all, I'll say this, is that I do think that this She-Ra action figure is pretty cool. I think for one thing, her face looks a little better than like how they did like Tila's face and Evil Lyn. Like sometimes people like toy companies like always mess up female characters for some reason, but this actually looks pretty decent. Like I said, I think there are things about this that are a little better than those other female figures from Wave 1. So I know this from watching the Spectre Creative channel on YouTube, which is actually pretty interesting. It's actually a YouTube channel run by, he was Toy Guru way back whenever Matty Collector was still up, and I watched his video on She-Ra, and he was talking about how like back in the day this was actually a mask, but then they flipped it because girls were playing with this and they kept on flipping it to make it more of like a, I don't know what you call this, like a tiara or something like that. But originally it was supposed to be like a mask. But I don't know. It's probably better looking like this. I will say that the hair in the back actually looks pretty cool. I think that they did a good job of like giving her these kind of like curled locks down at the bottom. That kind of reminds me of the original cartoon design. And this is not, like I said, like this is not my favorite She-Ra look. If anything, even though I had no affinity for the cartoon, but since being an adult and actually seeing the designs from the original cartoon, I actually prefer that more so than the Princess of Power version of She-Ra. So here's this brand new She-Ra next to the Filmation look of She-Ra, and from what I understand, and I'm I'm pretty sure this is correct. So if I'm incorrect, please let me know. I think that the design of this She-Ra is not owned by Mattel. So they actually have to, work something out where they could actually make toys of this design. Is that, I'm pretty sure that's correct. So, maybe you'll get this version of She-Ra in this line, and maybe you won't. Who knows? But I really hope that they do because, like I said, I prefer this. I think it looks, I don't know, it looks more in line of Masters of the Universe. I actually bought this and display this with all my old 80s Masters of the Universe toys because I think it fits in so well with that. Even though this is a Filmation design, it still looks like in line with Tila from that line. So, it fits in really well right on your shelf with He-Man and Castle Grayskull and Skeletor and Hordak and all that kind of stuff. So I hope in the future that they do release a version of this in this line. That'd be great. I just like the way that her dress looks more, and like how the emblem is on her torso, and even like this wing tiara or whatever you call this. I don't know. There's just something that's very cool about it. I like the design. Now here's what I was talking about too. Like even on the Filmation one, they have those like curls down at the end of the hair, like that they put on this new one. So that's cool. These companies have done a pretty decent job of, keeping all these Masters of the Universe toys in line with, their cartoons and original toys and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool. It's neat having both, but like I said, if they release a version of this, I'll probably put this one on display and not this one. So here's She-Ra's sword. This is her brand new sword next to the Filmation sword. And it's pretty similar, except, it's a little smaller. It's yellow. But it's cool. I'm glad that she actually has a full sword. One of the things that bugs me about He-Man and Skeletor is that they haven't released a full sword with them. They only have the half a swords. Each one of them needs to have a full sword as well as their half a sword, in my opinion. And here's She-Ra's new shield next to the Filmation shield. This new one, it looks pretty cool. In some ways, I think it looks even neater than the Filmation one because it has this very cool design on it. I like how you have like the starburst kind of etched in the front. She could actually hold it with her hands. This other one, the old one, you just have to snap it onto her wrist. So this is a pretty cool shield. And last but not least, you have Roboto here. And I think this guy's really awesome too. One of my favorite things about the old Masters of the Universe toys was just the cool special, action features that they had, their gimmicks. I loved how every single one of them pretty much had their own gimmick, and it really made them special. And Roboto's was pretty neat too, where you turn him and his mouth moves. I like how you could see the gears moving inside, even on the original one. And you can also switch out his hands. All right, so here's the brand new Roboto next to the original one. Now here's the thing. My Roboto, his chest is switched around for some reason, and I don't know how to fix it really. I don't know if I can turn this around and then turn the head around without messing up the gears and stuff like that. I guess maybe somebody must have did this way back when and they never fixed it, or I don't know if they bought it like this or what. Plus the arms are on the wrong side, and I'm also worried because this is old plastic from way back in the day, and clear plastic ages terribly. It breaks very easily. So at the moment I'm just kind of got a little hair here. I'm just leaving him as is. I'm leaving the green and the orange in the front. So yeah, there you go. But I will try to compare this guy as much as I can here. So first of all, the head is pretty it's similar, but the shapes are still very different. This is a lot more pointy here in the front. Even the visor is a lot thinner. The little black area inside there is more round. Here it's kind of just like a, just like a rectangle in there. I don't know. There's something about the original one that is sculpted. It's sharper, so it looks a little better. Plus the silver of it looks more like chrome or metal than this new one does. This new one kind of looks more like a toy. In fact, there's a lot of marbling in it, in the plastic. So that just kind of makes it look even more like plastic. Um, the original one, the clear here is getting a little dark, so it's cool having one that's pretty clear and clean looking. However, if you were looking at it from the back here, look at that. Like, they didn't put any gears in the back. I feel like that they should have did that. They should have still tried to have these gears in the back, because these ones move on the original one. And here all you can do is just see this. You see that little mechanism in there clicking the mouthpiece up and down. If you're looking at the gears in front here, there's something about the original gears that, I don't know. Even those look kind of neater, because you have that really big one in the front and the two ones kind of behind it a little bit. There's just something a little neater about that than this newer one. However, this new one seems to work very easily. This old one kind of, it's very stiff and kind of hard to work. The details on the arms are like so much nicer in the new one. Like, they're cool here, but you can see how that they adapted all of these little bits and pieces and put it into the new one, made them sharper and made them stand out a little more. There's something very different about his arms too, just like the general shape. Where this new one, it looks almost like the same bicep and shoulders as all the other Masters of the Universe Origins figures, just with these bits and pieces on top of it. So if anything, the original arms kind of look more like specialized or something just for him. And but yeah, like all the details on there look awesome. Like you can see everything so much clearer now. The hands, I don't know. I'm not sure which I prefer. Like I said, there's certain cool things going on here, and like you see how he has like the hands here, and you actually have that tube coming from his forearm into his hand. You can't really do that on the new one because he has articulation there. Down here in the pelvis piece here, you like those lines are very big. On the new one, he's got like a smaller pelvis area, although he has some extra details on the sides. I don't know. Which do you prefer out of both of these? For one thing, though, the new one, he can stand up a lot easier, which is nice, because, I'm not too fond of who has these legs. I think Trapjaw has these same legs, and I think Many Faces, but they always like topple over because of, I don't know, they're like too narrow or something like that. So at least with the new one, you'll be able to get him to stand more. And the details in the legs are pretty similar, but, just thought out a little better. All right, so I was having trouble getting my Roboto to stand, so I had to put something behind him. All right, so Roboto's other gimmick is he has all these interchangeable hands. And so let's take a look at each one of those. Now, you have the new one on the left and the old one on the right. And I will say that the old one, first of all, it's not warped. Like this new one is just very warped. But just the details on this one are so much sharper. There's all these little nicks in the side of the blade. Those all look really good. You don't have that in this new one. And, these little pieces down here, even like this little like tube that comes out and sticks out, is just so much more noticeable and cleaner looking on the original one. All right, and now you have the claw hand, and it's pretty much the same exact thing, where this one looks so much sharper and cleaner than this new one does. This brand new one has more of the marble thing going on, so it just looks like plastic. And this original one, it's plastic, but I don't know. There's something about it that looks a lot nicer. And last, you got the gun. And this looks very cool too, but like I said, well, you have the little holes here, so you can actually make them out on the newer one. The old one didn't have any holes, but the new one has all this marbling to it, which is kind of distracting. I mean, the old one has some of that, but because it's a darker color, it's just not as noticeable. They're very similar, though. All these accessories for Roboto are very similar. And now, here's one last thing about Roboto. Roboto's gimmick is, he can switch his hands, but you can also do that with Trapjaw, right? So, can you put Trapjaw's hands on Roboto's body and Roboto's hands on Trapjaw's body? Yes, you can. Because of the way that these pegs are made, you can easily put that in there. It fits just fine. And, let's see, where's... Like, the peg is shaped differently on the Roboto pieces, but they'll still go in there. And that is Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 3. And what can I say about this line? It's awesome. You know, I'm really happy with it. I like the new articulation and everything like that because you can actually pose them in dynamic poses, and you can mostly get them to stand without them toppling over all the time. So that's great. Here's a tip for you. I mostly pre-order all my toys from Big Bad Toy Store, so go on there if you're trying to find these guys. Don't expect to find them at Walmart or Targets because all you'll find is He-Man and Skeletors everywhere. Just He-Man and Skeletors everywhere. I got lucky with Scareglow and Trapjaw. I actually got those from Walmart.com just by randomly checking Walmart. And, eventually they just popped up and I was able to get them. But other than that, Wave 1 I found at Walmart, and then everything else I found at Big Bad Toy Store. So go on Big Bad Toy Store. That's my tip to you. And this line just really has me really excited about the future. You could probably have every single original Masters of the Universe retro figure redone within like a year and a half to 2 years from now, and you could have them all because this line is moving incredibly fast. And, that'd be great because I hope this line gets even bigger, and I hope that they start to venture off into new unexplored territories, like, possibly putting out characters who only appeared in the Classics line. That'd be awesome because, all these guys are great, but I could use more Snake Men than just the original 5, or, more characters from the Evil Horde, or like Shadow Weaver and stuff like that. Heck, I would love to get, what's his name? Fangor? I think that's his name. I have that Snake Man, the one with the huge fangs. Like, if they did him in this style, that would be amazing. So I hope that they get to that point where they can start putting in some new, obscure, random, unknown characters. And that would be, that would just be awesome. So, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Did you pick up Wave 3? Are you trying to find all these characters? Just let me know. Talk to you later.